Good morning and welcome. We hope this broadcast finds you healthy and safe. Thank you for tuning in to MSK's video pop-up series where we discuss late-breaking news and issues that affect your business during these uncertain times. Today, we'll be hearing from Stephen Blaker, an attorney in MSK's Immigration Department. As companies prepare to reopen, they are mounting questions on a wide range of topics. Today, Stephen will bring clarity to the litany of changing rules imposed by various federal agencies on immigration. Over to you, Stephen.
Thanks for that introduction, Doug. And I agree. I hope everybody is safe and healthy at home. I'm here to talk a bit about a few of the changes that have been made in immigration processes as we look forward to reopening, hopefully soon. USCIS, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, the U.S. Immigration Agency, has made a few pretty major changes that allow for the easier filing of cases. One of the major changes that has been implemented is that USCIS is now accepting scanned signatures. In the past, we've always needed to file with original single-sided hard copy wet ink signatures. But because of the pandemic and because of the difficulty in obtaining such signatures, USCIS has made a limited exception which allows for these scans of signatures. So basically what this allows for is it allows the petitioner, the person who is signing on behalf of the beneficiary and on behalf of the company, to print the form at home, sign it, and then scan it back to the immigration attorney who will be filing the case. And then that immigration attorney can print the scan and file with that rather than having to FedEx back and forth the original documents. That saves a lot of time. It saves a lot of having to go out in public and having to leave people's homes. So that's been a huge benefit of the COVID-19 response by USCIS. Another major change is that USCIS has suspended premium processing. It's unclear when it will return, but for many cases, we use premium processing for people in H-1B or the O-1 category. But unfortunately, that premium processing is no longer available. It is unclear as to when it will return. Another benefit that USCIS has rolled out during COVID-19 is a longer grace period to respond to requests for evidence, notices of intent to deny, a longer time period to respond or to file an I-290B for a motion to reopen or reconsider. So if those requests by the government were issued between March 1st and July 1st, you will now have an additional 60 days beyond the deadline to respond to the request for evidence, notice of intent to deny, etc. So it allows us and it allows petitioners to have more time to gather the required evidence or the requested evidence or to respond to a notice of intent to deny, to file a motion to reopen or reconsider, etc. So it makes it a bit easier. It relieves some of the burden that is on petitioners in the current environment to gather evidence that is requested by the government. Another change that USCIS has made is that it has suspended all in-person appointments at all of its offices. That is suspended through June 4th, 2020. As of yesterday, USCIS did announce that they would slowly begin to reopen their local offices for non-emergency appointments. It's unclear as to what offices will be open. They're slowly rolling out the information, so certainly contact your immigration contact as to any questions you have about any appointments that you may have had that were postponed or canceled due to COVID-19. USCIS began to cancel and postpone appointments beginning in March. And so we do imagine that there will be a backlog of appointments, and rescheduling such appointments may take some time, but they're still in the queue. Another major change, moving over now to the U.S. Department of State, is that all embassies and consulates around the world are currently closed. So basically this means that if a petition has been filed on behalf of a beneficiary at USCIS and it has been approved, that beneficiary cannot go to a U.S. embassy or consulate to apply for the visa stamp in that beneficiary's passport, as is required to enter the United States. Right now, we do have reports of the U.S. embassies and consulates scheduling appointments for July and August of 2020, but It's unclear when the U.S. embassies and consulates will reopen, and so we are advising very strictly against travel. If a beneficiary is already in the United States, then we advise the beneficiary to remain in the U.S. Because we just don't know when the U.S. embassies and consulates will reopen, because there has not been official guidance yet from the U.S. embassies or consulates. Finally, just to keep this brief and short, there are major travel restrictions depending on the country in which the foreign national has most recently been in. So for instance, as of Tuesday night, travel restrictions were imposed for people who had been in Brazil in the past 14 days. And that applies to anybody who had been in Brazil, whether that person was a Brazilian citizen, perhaps somebody visiting from Australia, from England, from South Africa, wherever in the world. If that person had been in Brazil for the past 14 days, then they are not allowed to enter the United States. A similar restriction applies to people coming from the Schengen zone, which includes most European countries. So if that person had been in a Schengen zone country prior to entering the US or prior to trying to enter the US, then they cannot enter within 14 days of having been in a Schengen country. And so it's very important to contact your immigration contact when considering travel to the US or considering departing the United States, because these travel restrictions change every day. The Brazilian proclamation was announced, I believe, on Sunday and then was instituted on late Tuesday night. So there's not much time in between the announcement and the actual institution of the travel restrictions. And so it's an evolving situation worldwide. We look forward to reopening, and we look forward to having people be able to re-enter the U.S. safely after getting their U.S. embassies, their visa from a U.S. embassy or consulate, excuse me. But at this time, it's most important to stay in touch with your immigration contact, reach out to them as to any questions you have about travel, and to stay aware and stay healthy. I'll send it back to you, Doug. That's my brief overview of the changes for U.S. immigration at this time.
Excellent. Thanks, Stephen. Thank you for joining MSK's video pop-up series today. These video sessions are intentionally brief and hope that you find them useful. If you have questions for Stephen, his information is currently on screen. His email is s1b@msk.com. And if you need additional guidance from anyone else on MSK's Reopen Rapid Response team, you can email us at reopen@msk.com. Keep an eye out for additional pop-up videos in the coming days and weeks, and more importantly, please continue to remain healthy, remain strong, and remain hopeful. Thank you, and goodbye.